Hello everyone. I have made a V1 Caliburn. As you can see, it has a PVC-Y style foregrip. I haven't made the front sheath for it yet out of PVC. Just haven't had time to cut out the PVC on my bandsaw, but that will go there. As you can see, has a trigger works, has a catch works. It's a cool little blaster. Now, I couldn't just make a normal V1 Caliburn. That would be insulting to my epic design skills. So I made a modified V1 Caliburn. If you look closely at it, this is all 3D printed. All the parts that are normally cut out of polycarbonate are 3D printed. All of this white stuff is 3D printed. This stuff up here, these are 3D printed. This stuff is 3D printed, so is this. The Y on the front is 3D printed. Sort of ugly at the back because I had print bed adhesion issues, but you can see that's 3D printed. 3D printed scar. The stock, 3D printed, all of this. 3D printed spacer here. This top bar is not 3D printed. This is PVC extrusion. I believe it's PVC. This is PVC pipe down here. As you can see, it has the little logo on it still. Printed trigger, all that jazz. It's awesome. I love this blaster. It's very janky right now because I didn't have all the hardware that I wanted to use. As you can see in the plunger back here, it's just using like a normal nut as the catch surface instead of I was planning to use a RoboMan Lynx nut, one of those nice little rounded ones, but they went out of stock, so I used this. So it doesn't catch very reliably, but it's overall not bad. And the rest of the blaster has some like warping on like this part up here. As you can see, it's kind of bent back. And trigger mechanism is a little bit jank. I used random screws that I had laying around, so they kind of stick out a bit. But I love this blaster. I have been wanting a V1 Caliburn since Slug released it. If you go to the Nerf Haven thread for the original Caliburn, you can just search on Google or whatever web browser, Nerf Haven Caliburn, and we'll bring up the Caliburn thread. I contributed towards the original Caliburn. I gave Slug some feedback on it in 2016. So if you want to go and look at cringy 13-year-old silly butts talking about stuff that he probably doesn't know about as if he is an expert, go look at that thread. I had no idea what I was doing, except I really wanted one of these. Now, I've never made one of them because I hate working with polycarbonate and like cutting it, but I love the aesthetic of it. So I just modeled it up in Fusion. Slug had some original models of the original Caliburn, but they were like a mishmash of outdated parts from before he made the one that he posted, ones from way after he made the one that he posted where he made a 3D printed version, and some stuff in between where like if you built it the way that he had it modeled, it wouldn't have worked because it had like half of one version, half of another version. So I cleaned everything up and I made it use more modern materials. So now it uses a modern Caliburn ram with the thin middle, uses modern Caliburn ramming bars, uses O-rings instead of skirt seals, and the plunger and ram. The ram is from a V3 Caliburn, and the plunger is a mix between a Lynx the V1 Caliburn and the V4 Caliburn. It's just a mishmash of those three plungers to make something that looks Caliburn-y, but works very well. And the original way that the Caliburn catches, with a sliding catch as opposed to a sear, as you can see back there, lends itself very well to using a lynx type plunger construction with a rod going through it and a nut on each end, which is very nice. The trigger is modified to be slightly bigger and look like the original trigger. The mag release is slightly modified to be more reliable. The top dart guide is modified to use a thumb screw that I got from Out of Darts years ago for a flywheel project I never made. But that's up there. I haven't put a heat set insert into this white part right here to make it like screw in. But it's there. It's just kind of sitting there. The original Caliburn had a plunger tube that went all the way to the back to here. But I don't have a plunger tube that long. I just have a normal Caliburn plunger tube, so I made a printed spacer to take up the extra space. It doesn't look bad. And the trigger linkage is a unbent coat hanger, as you can see right here. It's an unbent coat hanger. It goes all the way up to the trigger in there. So even if this blaster is extremely jank and not true to its original roots, being 3D printed instead of being machined, I still love it. It's awesome. Always wanted a V1 Caliburn. Finally have something that's at least close to one. In the future, I'm probably going to improve this design some more and then get some actual sheet plastic machined out on a CNC router and make it nice and like proper. Get some bottom bars without text on them, get some properly sized top bars, improve the plunger so it looks nicer, switch to V4 Caliburn bars, switch up the ram base to be nicer, switch up the magwell to be like looser and gravity drop, maybe make a Talon Claw length version of this, get a full length plunger tube, and like go all out on like the most Gucci V1 Caliburn I possibly can. It's like custom machined plunger, custom machined ram base, Kuryaka barrel, nice and shiny, beautiful scar on the end, a properly printed Y that doesn't have this ugliness on the back, and just go all out on this blaster. I love it. It's awesome. Guess I'll shoot a bit. This has Talon metal on it right now. It's shooting harder than a normal Caliburn. Don't know why, but it is. As you can see, it works great. I love it. Oh, I don't use that mag release as just a pull out. But yeah, I love this blaster. It's awesome. I might release these files in the future.